Agriculture, Sports and Tourism. Let me firstly apologize for the late arrival. You will not believe that I spent almost 2 hours 30 minutes from Jeppes Reef. There was an accident, 2 trucks were involved in an accident. We spent almost 1 hour 30 minutes before we came. Our apologies is not in our culture. That people should wait
Yes,
respect people, respect you.
Yes, they said at 11.
You should have arrived here almost 45 minutes before 10. We are careful with the college. It's beyond our control. I think it's some of his cards with that. Boris can say something. We are careful in our agenda. The first item is the opening and welcoming remarks by the chairperson. The advocate there's a legislation I was starting with traffic, but several years much. He said in a year. Because the advocate who had to present my highlights and the BELA bill. Namun sekarang to the family the Basic Education Laws Amendment of 2022. Mpumalanga Homeschooling Association. The only republic in South Africa. The only republic in South Africa. There are such meetings. Whether it's in the Northern Cape, whether it's in the Western Cape, Eastern Cape, or Kama Coast provinces. You go to Free State, you go to Northwest, Mpumalanga, and Limpopo. There are public hearings. I have to wear. Over the ministry I had application under Minister himself. After consultation, level players within the ministry. Currently, so the Territorial South African School Act. One of listeners to a family. One of my changes. It's been in charge. Not better be the criminal law. It's must to a family is aware down there. Later on, God was looked at another homes. Citizens here, we are focusing on Parat. Pagaram body. She was in legislation. Slow celebrating to general. But before speaking up, no lady must param Gananda. That's its way. Oh, heaven sing a cup. The father of Muria, like high, for Mars and Spanish. Just pay the little child and the view of the moon line. Stay here so one, see a father and swat. As to God. Yeah. They are not in the Maswat. They are Kuruman, as in that. Just pay the little child and the view of the moon line. Those who don't shower is the battle. So that when you see very well. Over to you, the municipality. Welcome, advocate.
khululekani sekhaya izitana sesekhaya if imvelo ikubamba siyanwelcome noma lentela sokhulekeni asikeke kuweni bantu baseformats one of here to come one here to speak. There's nothing that you can do without speaking. You speak, you fix everything by speaking, talking, communicating. So, as Mpumalanga, we communicate with them. As we're just communicating. Now, when you stand up, you just say what you want to say. Politely so, you don't want to fight. So everyone is welcome here in Mpumalanga Legislature and Mpumalanga
I'll share the SWAT in back. In the school, the SWAT, well, even the legislature said why you see, legislature said way to sneak a mandate in 3 areas. One is oversight. La legislature must carry the executive council. The executive council is a who run our department. Managing sim council legislatures must have a demand. Citizens busy. The check is in terms of their strategic plans, their operational plans. It's a decision and see, I check each and every cell, each and every red, which is for the people's liberty. That's what we do as oversight. The other mandate, the CNI, is lawmaking. They are permanent board. If the continue and start with the Texas regime, this is a process you program. Yes, that is what. Then what? Then is to be the swap like that. Strangely, one was going to play the bill. The bill eventually will be an act. President will sign. Man, Namodala, and it's about just following food. Food will have any direction you want. Madam, what watching us today, you come out with the way. In building charge. Now, I'm going to way, we can facilitate the economies around it. Namka and neutral, facilitate. Umuntu barabe mmodo lokuthi lawa. Tolerance. Make it scarcely, I could now to Mpumalanga. Il est mal de tout le domaine. The mandate of is public participation and involvement. Some kind of legislation. Namusha. Say the public participation and involve to the process of intent. Yes. Okay. next year principal ngifuna umsebenzi but mina ngikhala ngokuba inspector ngikhala ngokuba chair ngikhala ngokuba speaker.
Okay.
Yeah. Sesikhuluma sikhwele phambili.
Yeah.
On the right hand. Manje ngoba mina ngiyititshe ngafundela utitshe ngihamba nalo afundele into 2010 iposition yakhe uyi-advocate laba sifundile sathi uhlala uyi-lawyer uyi-attorney ukhuphuke njalo until uyobajaji manje u-advocate ngiyambona ukuthi ufunzile uyawuvisisa umthetho ngibathini ma-politicians manje uye atosithulela ledini mina maseningena usimina ngiwuvidiyo zakamashefu mina ngifuna ukugcisa lamafuthi lawa based on the beat kulamatwasayo ekugcineni sekuthi ngiyawuvumela lo mthetho or ngiyawuvujela as you make your comment i-legislature team i-capture injani asiyipheke siyi-capture as it is kuyosheka lamanye ama-province eventually uba ne-one. Advocate, we are looking to Advocate Musesa is our legal senior manager in the legislature. Into a handle nomthetho sikhoniphi yakhe. Over to you.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, good morning, everybody.
Morning, sir.
Sanwana. BELA. Good morning. I'm going to be using different languages, but in the name of Kuluma, la Kuluna, la. Right? Because I'm going to forgive me as I get into that detail, so that Mpumalanga must understand why we are here. But let me start the process now. In terms, Chairperson, when he was giving the overview, spoke about in lawmaking process, said it is late. But now, I want to expand the gun, which you remember, when you do lawmaking, you do the following. One, you deal with bills, your Section 75 bills. And Section 75 bills are bills that affect the national, like your security, your safety, or your intelligence. Then there's the Section 76 bills in terms of the Constitution that have equal current function between the national and the provincial. Then over yesterday, 74, the amendment, the Constitution in the country. Right? Then over yesterday, the amendment, the money bill and the rest. But today, why we are here? We are here to BELA, the BELA bill in terms of presentation. Right? By the Party BELA bill, it's called Basic Education Laws Amendment Bill 2022. This bill was introduced in NCOP from Parliament around November, beginning of November. And Tina, we were briefed by the National Council of Provinces around 22 November. And that is very important for you to understand. The process flow, how does it take place? It means Parliament had to sit and come through the ministry, and then it was taken to the NCOP. And the NCOP, the National Council of Provinces, is a structure within Parliament. Because Parliament divided into two, the National Assembly and the NCOP, where challenges of the province or things that happen in the province as a whole, they get the opportunity to discuss within that Parliament. And it's in abantu who come from NCOP. Each chairperson, yeah, to the NCOP, is from around here. Honorable Jomonya, we chairperson, the NCOP. Right? So today we are the Senate, and the report will go back to that office. Why are we here? You don't put them on the BELA bill. Now, the Constitution is every child in South Africa must get a free education. Every child in South Africa must get a free education. Now, if BELA bill is born who are who age of going to school must be at school because education is free. I'm sure Tina says I'm a quintal 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I'm a quintal 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I divided the Uti as I'm a fee paying school. Now I follow Labo Abadama Sebe, school fees. That does not mean Uti the quintal 5. Bawanama, our wife won't get a quintal 5. Now, here's a trick. That also does not mean Uti Mausala, majority of quintal 5 schools. I found they must ever drop it. And but that does not mean remember, all the schools in South Africa are paid by government. They are not private. But this also includes private independent schools. The subsidy that government is giving. So no child must be excluded. But now it better be because one. Introducer, for the first time, introducer in grade R. It's called a Pestalozzi grade 1. That is Pestalozzi A. But mind grade R. It means the reason we do this legislation, our age of getting into grade R, they must go to school to grade R. Now, who's going to maybe that's the question. No, it's not going to be possible. Financing and so on and so forth. Remember, all of us here, we pay tax. All of us, we pay tax. Whether we buy food, whether we travel, whether we do this. Right? So government takes that money and funds. Teachers will be funded, new teachers will be funded. Schools will be open, infrastructure. But this bill does not deal about infrastructure. Right? But it speaks about Abantwana who must get into school. Number one. So all grade R must be there, including sometimes but now it's going to be illegal, unlawful. If umntwana uhlala naye and umntwana akayi esikolweni, meaning every child must be known. That's what this bill first talks about. But now, this bill introduces what is important called language policy. Now, schools previously, in terms of SASA, they were run by SGBs. SGBs will decide which policy or language to use as colleagues. If the SGB decides English-speaking people, and they talk about me, the classes, we don't have a class, but therefore as we start. Right? They used to take us to court as government, and they used to win, because government will ask a question, where is the policy or the legislature that says SGBs can't do it? But now, we better believe the power of SGBs have been cut. SGBs are going to consult HODs and NECs. And a minister will come with regulations. And this means the following. South Africa is still one united South Africa. Right? So as a result, SGBs, for the first time, they'll be consulting with the HOD, consulting with the NECs. But remember, this is very simple. If a school gets money from government, who is government? Government is the HOD who runs the school. But the HOD did not have power to get into the school. Because SGBs were saying, we run our school, you don't run our school. And that becomes difficult for our country. But now, BELA says, no, the powers of SGBs will be cut. And the SGBs will be there, SGBs. But SGBs will speak to the HOD. SGBs will speak to the NEC. They will consult and they will come. Now, BELA introduces the same thing in terms of material, in terms of money. For the first time, we see HODs will be able to procure, meaning to procure and to buy will be centralized for the first time. In what is your Puma from the office of the HOD, the office of the NEC. Centralization in what? Before, they used to buy, schools used to buy for themselves, but now procurement will be centralized. Language police will also be centralized. Now, here's the issue. If they say there's not enough person who can speak isiZulu in an area, for instance, in this area, if Konabe suit and they want to get into high school, government says, admit them, principal. And after admitting them, write to the HOD, to the NEC, and says, we have 10 or 20 Sotho speaking students. Unlike before we were rejected, but you know, because we are Sotho speaking, we are not Sotho speakers here. It could be Swati. So what you can do, you must go and study somewhere where they can speak. But for the first time, it says no, admit them. But it also says what? Says the principal and protects the principal. But if the principal rejects that school, it goes to the community. And the community, the principal and we know what happened. But I will speak to them. Financial records, what BELA does. I'm summarizing what is there. I'll come to it. I'm summarizing what is here. Now, for the first time, SGBs would be able on a quarterly basis finances of the school. Before, it would take 18 months to do that. And 18 months means so imagine what January, 2022. This is 2023. And we want Jeppes to submit our financials. Now the school says SGBs must be able to do the following financial record and to submit. But there has to be accountability. This is money, this is public money, this is public purse. There has to be accountability that happens within our school. Now, BELA also introduces what is called there should be no disruptions at schools. Now, if you have a problem with the roads, you have a problem with water, the community must not stand up and rise and march to the school and close the school so that our children must not go to school. BELA introduces that mechanism so that those who do that, that's a wall shot. If Satu has its own problems, or Naprosa has its own problems, but if the other one, it's a one of phone there. What do you get for it? Now, he introduced a foot in our penalties of parents, but I there will be children sometimes putting a guy is following because for some reason. But it means for the first time we are able to get insight in terms of this law to say what can I is following, what can we do? BELA also introduces the abolishment of corporal punishment. There's a lady yesterday, Uti. I attended homeschooling because I was bullied at school and so on and so forth. It introduces this. No child, there must never be a corporal punishment in school. They are defined. Corporal punishment might be kicking, tapping, and so on and so forth, and then beating of a child. Right? It stopped that process from happening. Let's talk about homeschooling. And I want to repeat about homeschooling. There is nowhere in the bill that says there must never be a homeschooling. Nowhere. No, none anywhere. It's actually going to be unconstitutional if that can happen. But government is saying two things. We must know, they must register with government to be saying, if we are doing homeschooling, we must know who's doing homeschooling in South Africa. Remember something very important. We budget, we give money, government gives money. So as a result, they must know how many children are doing homeschooling. Sometimes the issue of parenting is good, but remember, parents don't have absolute power over children. Remember, there's a case in Boxburg of a family. These two parents, they were staying with their children. There were 5 of them. This father used to sleep with these children every day. They did not go to school. You can Google, you know, you see them. So parents in that instance, right? That are supposed to be protecting children. Then the court comes into space and takes out children. So the government says there are issues like that. Let's know what is there in terms of homeschooling. But the challenge is this. If you decide whether you want to do homeschooling, it's agreeable. BELA agrees with it. But it says let's register, let us know. Let's not inform, but sometimes let's inform the HOD or the department so that we know where we are. Another thing, they are introducing searching and seizure. It's a criminal law definition. Bonke abantwana besikolo mabangene gate, as they enter the gate, the school has the power to search them. Before the South said, ngoba umntanami ufuna uzotshela ukuthi awaba miloya usearch wena umbani. We have seen how where children were searched for drugs and they found drugs. And they were taken to the police station for drugs. And guess what? When they went to court, there were 3 lawyers. There's a senior advocate, there's an advocate, there's an attorney. All of them, they bill 100,000 or more. So it means the children were more powerful than the teachers. And we can't do that. Now, for the first time, BELA is introducing all children in terms of drugs or any other thing, whether nice, you research. Also, your right will be limited, only the school way. But remember, we did not have that because our right is not limited. In South Africa, we don't have an absolute right in any way. But in this instance, our children would get into space and it will be protected. Code of conduct for learners. There are schools that come with their own code of conduct, but they don't follow the Constitution. But the introduction of code of conduct, it would mean the following. It would mean it must follow the Constitution. There's no legislation in South Africa that is above the Constitution. Number 2, to follow the legal prescript. Every law that is there. Initiations. Every high school or every school, grade 8, party they are initiating people work in school. This is not bullying, but initiation. Baba told her they will arrest you as a student. I repeat. So what are not Tumsi? They will end Tumsi. They are going to arrest you. Long time after to Tumsi, also harbor and raise the case and will be arrested. Right? So what does it say? It says everybody within the school environment must be safe and must see what they can do. But let's look at this part. I want to read this part called competent assessor. It means an educator registered with the South African Council for Educators, as defined in the South African Council for Educators. Should be a recognized professional in the field of education or a person of body registered with the South African Qualification Authority. Assessors are those that look at your education, are those that look at your curriculum, are those that, as you discuss and debate those issues. Remember, we necessarily don't know what is happening in homeschooling. Now we don't know. Yes. It's a big private. Sometimes we don't know who invigilates those that are right in private schooling. Yeah. And by pass along, I've never heard of homeschooling that did not pass. But unless they tell, so if there must be a competent assessor to look at those things. Tina, we investigate and we look and how this matter can be done. Now, BELA also on the second page introduces special education needs. Okay, when I read something, it makes sense. I want to connect them. But there are children that takes time for them. The children, Tina, that's why these are in South Africa. That's why these are muscle learners. Now we've got schools for that. For our means education designed to facilitate the learning of individuals who, for a variety of reasons, require additional support. Who must get additional support, additional time. Exam 2 hours. The exam 2 hours. Meaning in 1 hour. In 5 hours. But to consider, let's not reject our children because they are slow learners. So there will be schools that will be given to children who belong to that category, so that they can give them more money, they can give them more competent teachers, and they can see how they can deal with those matters. But now, I'm about to conclude. I've said a lot of things, I'm about to conclude. But as I conclude, I want to conclude on the following terms. Like I said in the school, searching will be done anytime you want. They will come in to search for drugs, they will come in to search for other issues, and so on. But also, there are children who are good, who have talent. Yeah? We are all celebrating Sia Police, right? All of us were celebrating Sia Police, right? Yeah, he's ours. Then we must celebrate him. It means he's talented. He knows what he's doing. He's talented. But I'm not so sure whether academically he is on that level. Right? Meaning he's gifted in playing football. Messi is gifted in playing football. But he's not academically gifted. For the first time, BELA says you recognize as the principal, as the school, children that are gifted. Then you make an application to the school and say, Stella, children that are gifted, please can you build for us a school for those children that are gifted? There was a school called School of Excellence, Translate School of Excellence. Exclusively are those who are playing football. So that means all gifted for the first time. Remember the chair spoke about strategic documents when you submit to the NECs. You can write and say, we are requesting with Nabantwana who play netball, very good netball, who can sing, you know, who can. In Gauteng they have those schools, right? But what legislation governs that? So now for the first time we have that. Children that can sing, children that can, I mean we have got, how many, those who look at idols. The current winners from here, Mpumalanga, you see? But we don't have schools, unlike the National School of Art in Gauteng as an example. So we can build, that means we can write. So BELA says, recognize children as individuals, not as a group. That's not fine, Natal. Singene tragedy yonke, siyahamba, siyazia. Man siyahamba, kasi la family, basi kubani la, yabona. So all children must identify as individuals within them. But also, as you appoint people to run your schools, 3 points and then I'll close. As you appoint people from your schools to be in SGB and to run your communities, you must appoint people that are competent, and you must appoint people that come from your schools. Ne? But in South Africa, we do not have white or black schools. We've got public schools in South Africa. Someone said to me, no, funa ikolo, lana, the culture here, lana, in the township, and I said, oh, Mpumalanga. In South Africa, we don't have those things. South Africa, we've got public schools, where every child must play play together, must swim together, must run together, must have the same spirit of Siapolisi and others as we celebrate. But lastly, Chair. Lastly, it's important for us when we decide to make our submissions. Let us make our submissions in terms of what I presented and in terms of what is before, so that we understand where we are. Like what the chair has said. As you make submissions to say, this is what we look at in terms of legislation, this is what we want to be done in terms of legislation. If you want amendments to be done, or further amendments to be done, you see there are people that will be writing, and I'll also be writing, so that we can be able to give a report. Chair.
Asimpindeni futhi. Well, before siqala my comments, uba bendlebe ukhona la from basic education akekho. I see the provincial senior officials are here. La leader team to introduce alabakhona from the Department of Education in Mpumalanga. Usesinang we are national in basic education. From the province, who's here, who's going to introduce other members who are here? Are you alone? We are
I'm supposed to be with Magam Teto or Legal, Ntela Paramsi Santa Mbon, with Director Legal. Or maybe I can figure out, but I'm deployed with her. Mina Usiso Razwane, Head Office, Mpumalanga Department of Education. And then there's a colleague of mine, we are a National Department of Basic Education Director, which I would like to hold.
Sanbonani. Siyabonga Chairperson. Igama uJabuhlakula, the Director for Quality Learning and Teaching Campaign at the Department of Basic Education. Ubaba Ndlebe is also committed in the same process. I am standing here on behalf of Ubaba Ndlebe. Thank you. I think we still also have other colleagues from National. Maybe they will indicate when they are around. Thank you.
Siyabonga. Kuna Honorable Mukabela lana fighter le sukuma babingelele sisi mungana kangirai lamalanga and mina ungirai mnganami so akunamehluko nje ukuthi lo kuphi lo kuphi lo umsesi lo Honorable Morgan Grobier sukuma sesiuba bingelele.
Sanbonani, good morning.
Abona thi in legislature democracy si understand kahle. Langena manje Honorable Mohita Lashminari sukuma ma ubabingelele. Usesilana utosithulela ama-councillors la khona la sibantu nabo bani.
Sanbonani again. Ku-local sina Chief Whip waseNkomazi Municipality lo Honorable Mziyabo. Bingelela Mziyabo ngaphansi. Sine council emkhandlu waseHlanzeni leling babe Honorable Million Shom Mashum. Sinema councillor lamanye lahleli ngala sina councillor KG Ngomane PR councillor Kamsa Sangoma sina councillor Ngomane wa 32 last khona councillor Ngomane sina Councillor Mahlalela, Ward 24, 3 copies. Ngicabanga ukuthi lebe ngibabonile ngilabo labakhona. Na Councillor Mahlalela wase Ward 12. Second Councillor wase Ward 27, Councillor Richmond Mhlongo Shabang. Young Gamalo Wamhlongo wase 28, Councillor Richmond Shabang. Siyabonga ama councillors lesinawo la namuhla kumkhandlu waseNkomazi nemkhandlu waseHlanzeni.
Sibonga kakhulu ngoba umholi bethu ukhona la. Ma officials wase legislature sukumani banibona. Sukumani banibone. Sukumani phela ngathi isikhalani phansi phela. Angithi ubucherami manje nina senihlala phansi. Lo sesilo uTeresa udila ngama petitions. Kusho ukuthi la namuhla sidila ngeBELA bill. Maune issue le dila nge-service delivery une issue yabantwana labahlukumete njalo ngale yabona. Uya kuTeresa ubhalisa i-petition. Mawuqeda ukubhalisa i-petition, i-committee yakhona i-chair ngi-Honorable Lakshmi Narine. Ngiyahlala kule committee, siyahlala kule committee. So check the petition until istoyivala. So namuhla sizodila ngalama issues weBELA bill, mara sinivalele ngaphandle. If khona lokhu serious kufuna attention legislature. Nangu sesi uTeresa. Lo sesilo use office yale portfolio committee uyi-secretariat. Lo sesilo pretty uyi-coordinator yale committee. Ubhuti badila nge-security. U-advocate Mbonile ngithi. Njalo nje uya-interpreta bhuti. Seniyathi uthi lo uphethe ama-forms. Over and above which we are present, ngahlala phansi. Over and above pretty sukumu. Over and above which we are present, ungabhalisa i-submission yakho. Mancheka lama agenda wenu. Kunama details. Wakhe lo sisi. Nizosubmita futhi ivala nini le submission? 31 January 2024. So kusho the submission isavuliwe until 31 January 2024. The contact number lekhona lapha ku agenda ikhuluma ngayo pretty Mahlala. Ungahlala sesi labafuna ama form batwathola. I'm told kunama circuit managers, kunama teacher unions. Mina ngaqala isathu ngenyusa. Lolu kubona kusathu thina siyakwathi ukuvela ku sa participate si build talento le namhla seyibita South African Democratic Teachers Union. I don't know whether bato yeah babeshekwa yeah ukuba babeshekwa
Samata like a
Sanibonani. Sinema colleagues ethu bo circuit manager labakhona la eceleni kwami na Dr. Luphoko, circuit manager waseLubombo lena eMbuzini. Sina babe Sambo yena uka teacher development and governance. Babe Sambo Magesho ngobe naye uthi usedleleni ngathi kambe sewufikile. Magesho ngobe circuit manager waseNkomazi Central ifaka bokaMhlushwa nabomdlalo. And Dr. Mubi Dr. Mubi udane exam nami nje ngabo 12:30 ngawuphuma ngodane exam. Make Khulangwane, make Khoza, usendleleni uyedwa. Siyabonga.
Chairperson, khona base-national sebafikile besingakabaintroducanga. So Sis Sarah from the Office of the Deputy Minister. Sino Sis Sarah from the Office of the Deputy Minister National. Sino Sis Tabitha from the Office of the Minister National. Sino Babu Soviet Lekanyane from the Office of the Minister National. Thank you.
Siyabonga re go dumedisa ntate Soviet Lekanyane. Well, la suka la hlala manje. Sesiqala i-meeting yethu manje. Ngoba bekusakhuluma thina manje sekukhuluma nini abanikati bo meeting. Ngoba le meeting yethu ngizokutenda so. Ngiyarecognize atanda tonke. Nginika ama-numbers. Ngingena ngalama numbers. Number 1 makaqetha, number 2 uyangena. Siyayichoreographa lento yaflowa. Mina ngitovela kaningi. Nginika maximum of 3 minutes. Yeah, I'll mix. I know we're in a rainbow nation. And BELA says we must build a non-racial, non-sexist, united democratic society. Yeah. Slap. I'm going to give you numbers. After number 1 has spoken, number 2 must just come in. I'm not going to come many times until we close this side, until Sivalale side. Number 1, ngicala la phambili ngidina lemuva. Ngicala la phambili nginika ama numbers ngifika le siyaqeda masiqedile singena ngapha siyenda njalo. Please. Maximum of 3. If you have got more, you'll submit in writing. Everybody is allowed to speak. You are protected. Raise your view. Raw as it is, those who are officials will capture it. Yes. Also Hamisi Mike. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10, number 11, number 12, number 13, number 14, number 15, number 16. Yeah, number 17, number 18. Again, in that order. We want to be professional. Numbers, you must flow, respect time. Number 1. And you address the public, you don't address us here.
Yeah. Morning, ma'am.
Morning. Thank you for making me speak. I have a very well worked out speech, but I'm going to speak off the cuff because I think speaking from the heart is best. I'm fighting today for my children, but I'm fighting for your children too. In Mpumalanga, we have 9,000 student pregnancies last year. 9,000 pregnancies. That means we could have 9,000 abortions.
Start by saying I'm Gideon Mashio. So that they write you as Gideon Mashio.
My name is Rihanna. I'm the chairperson of the Mpumalanga Homeschooling Association, I am against the BELA bill. I represent 500 families in Mpumalanga, and I'm here fighting for my children, but I'm also fighting for your children. So as I've said, 9,000 pregnancies last year, which means it could be 9,000 abortions last year. Forcing our children to have comprehensive sex education in the schools, forcing teachers to teach our children pornography, criminalizing parents, saying you can sit in jail for 12 months for not putting your child in school, for protecting them from comprehensive sex education. That is what I'm against. I don't agree with that. We've been informed that everybody pays tax. Yes, we all pay tax. As a homeschooler, I leave my tax money for you to use in your school because I don't cost the government anything if I home educate my children. I have a few very simple requests from the BELA bill. Number one, give me the right to homeschool my child with a curriculum that works for my children. I want the freedom of choice for a curriculum. Number two, I agree with having competent assessors, but your competent assessor has to understand what homeschooling is all about. Number three, don't force our children to do comprehensive sex education. As a country which in the last census voted to be 85% Christians, this is dangerous to our society. Your children and my children are becoming possible victims of sex predators living in a society like that. This law allows teachers to take children to abortion clinics as young as 12 years old without informing you as the parent that that child is having an abortion. That very teacher that takes the child to the abortion clinic might be the one that impregnated your child. Is that what you want? That is what I'm fighting for your children and my children. Lastly, I want to say that the minister would be the only person having a right over our children. Now, I understand it's been said that we don't have ultimate right, but I disagree. These children have been given to me by God. I am the first responsibility in educating them and in protecting them, and I will fight for that to the last being. I'm urging you, help us to curb the powers of the minister, to give the power back to the parents, back to the schools, back to the community, because that's who should have the power, not the minister. I'm asking you, I'm pleading with you, please help us build the BELA bill better. I'm asking.
Morning. I'm Jan Engelbrecht. I am from Komatipoort Academy in Nkomazi. We do not agree with all the principles contained in the BELA bill. The first thing is that we believe a mother language is the most important form of integration for learning. Secondly, we believe the person who cares most for his kids is the parents. So the minute when these privileges are taken away from parents and invest in a minister, we have a challenge with that. Now, we are in a landscape in South Africa where government doesn't have all the funds. They can't provide. We can have many dreams here, but next year we want to see the things happening on the ground. Now, if there is no money, where will the money come from? The best place to source money is from the local community. The best person to have interest in the caretaking of the kids is the parent. The best language to teach kids is the home language. In the Nkomazi landscape, the Afrikaans-speaking people, I think, constitute around about 4% of the landscape. There are one school that teaches Afrikaans medium only, and that's Komatipoort Academy. We've got 580 kids. We've got 6 circuits in Nkomazi, I think 120 schools. There's only one double medium school that also teaches Afrikaans. So, in a school like Komatipoort Academy where it goes well, why does it go well? Because it does have more money and more input from the parents. In our school, the contribution from parents is around about 8 million. Of that, 9 million. Of that, we don't see 1.3 million 400,000 goes to people who don't have money to have kids in the school, but as a governing body, we see to it that we get the best teachers, we get the best products out there for the kids. And this principle is applicable in any area. Also here, there are many people here with money, parents of kids who want the best for their kids. How do you do that? You invest in the school. If you invest in the school, how do you see to it that the school takes best care of what you invested in the school? You are part of the decision making. Therefore, to estrange the governing body from participation will not be on. To vest the power in a minister is not on. The best person to take decisions over the best caretaking and education of the kids is the parent. Therefore, we are strong advocates for power that vests in the governing body and not in the minister. We are strong advocates for people who say, get your own language in your school done properly. Spend money to that and not money into other stuff. And if you think that tomorrow there will be more buildings for grade R and RR and for more kids in the school, they won't. There won't be money. There are limitations in terms of the government provision, but there is no limitation in the heart of a parent. That's why we are against the BELA Act. Thank you.
Community and government members, I thank you for the opportunity to present my view on the BELA bill. It has been said that the role of the church is to inform the conscience of the government. My name is Nel Jeppes and I am the pastor of Motherland Bible Church. I'm here to represent the views of my family and the members of my church. We reject the BELA bill in relation to the management of learner pregnancy. The bill gives the responsibility of the management of a learner pregnancy over to another party other than the parents. God has given the authority to parents and not to the state to care and to guide their children. Parents should be the prime decision makers in their child's life. A teenager is known for not being wise and they are often unable to see the consequences of their choices. The law recognizes that a child is not considered mature enough to, at the age of 17, to drive a vehicle without adult supervision, and yet it wants to give them the right to decide to terminate their pregnancy at the age of 12, and according to this bill, without having to notify her parents or guardians. This is something of a great concern. The fact is that termination of a pregnancy through abortion is the murder of a child. In the Bible, we see that God knows the infant in the womb. Psalm 139 says, "For you formed my inward parts, you knitted me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made." If you encourage learners to abort their babies, which this bill will do, the Department of Education and the learner will be guilty of murder. The Lord will not bless a country of which the blood of millions of babies cries out to him from the ground. And so I urge you, for the sake of the well-being of our children of this country and for their future, to turn away from this course of action by putting the BELA bill aside. Thank you, and may God grant you wisdom in these matters.